And again, he's talked about things in the last 4 years that most conservatives would be afraid of getting voted off the island if they were talking about those type of things. And obviously he's made some mistakes. He's evolving, but I think he has honestly made the case to me that, JC, I want to have the right perspective. I want to learn. I want to go to the next, take the country to the next level in so many areas.
All right, J.C. Watts talking about the man I guess he's supporting, and that would be Rand Paul, who entered the presidential race today. And joining us now is John Zogby, pollster of Zogby Polls, of course, and CEO of Zogby Analytics. John, good to talk to you again.
Hello again, Steve.
All right, so we just had Gary Johnson, the former Libertarian candidate for President of the United States, who says he might do it again in 2016, said if Rand Paul was a Libertarian, he'd run as a Libertarian. So how Libertarian is Rand Paul, and what does it mean for his chances as a Republican nominee?
Okay, there's a lot of questions in there, actually. First of all, how libertarian is he? He always has been a consistent libertarian until, say, the last 3 or 4 months, when you've seen him shift on some social issues and some defense issues and some foreign policy issues. And so now, if he runs as a libertarian, I agree with Gary Johnson that he carves out a pretty substantial niche for himself and a sole niche for himself within the Republican primaries, has a chance of doing very well, if not winning like his dad did at one point in Iowa, and doing very well in New Hampshire. Now, the risk is, ironically, the more he tilts on some social issues to maybe finesse or steal some support away from some of the other social conservatives, he widens his base a bit, but he risks losing some young people who really are more purist on libertarian issues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when it comes to his libertarian streak on foreign policy, especially, and many people have talked about the timing of this, you know, in the wake of the Iran so-called agreement and what's going on in the world. You had the Christians slaughtered the other day, even though the president didn't seem to care enough to mention it today at the Easter breakfast. Nonetheless, I mean, how does he shift on his foreign policy remarks that he has a real history of making?
This is a problem for Rand Paul, and we had seen, you know, prior to this, we'd seen some a little bit of decline in the polls, simply because he's no longer the Paul brand. He has that libertarian niche for himself, just as his dad did. But now, as he seeks to widen his base, he risks hurting the brand, and that's the problem that he's going to have to deal with. But as a pure libertarian, I don't know that he wins, but he becomes a real player. You know, going down the road, staying in it like his dad did, but, you know, as a more youthful guy building a movement for the future and someone maybe with a chance in the future. I, for one, think libertarianism is growing.
All right, well, let me ask you this. You talk about his dad. He, Rand Paul, is doing very well in Pennsylvania, in Florida, against Hillary Clinton. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, I think it's he cuts into Democratic support among younger voters. He actually gets double digits. Now, don't laugh, but he gets some double digits among African Americans, which is significant. That is cutting in, because, you know, the GOP normally gets 5% or 6%, you know, in the last couple of presidential.
Well, that's against Obama, but yeah, they did a little better with the other candidates. But you're right.
Yeah, and then he's also seen as kind of like the anti-candidate, and I think voters still have an element of some voters still have an element of that wish list. You know, somebody who appears to be fighting a bit, but also has some experience now in government.
All right, John, great analysis as always. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to talk.
John Zogby, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's very interesting, and it's a fine line to walk. I'm still taken aback by Gary Johnson. There are two people. I didn't think he was going to hit me, but it was close. The former governor Jesse Ventura, when I was at WOR, he and I got into it across the table. I thought he was going to jump over the table and smack me. I really did. Gary Johnson looked like he might have, but I don't think he has it in him. But he made my point. I said, you guys, it's all about marijuana and the war against drugs, and he went nuts. So he made my point. Anyway, all right. Hey, folks, due to popular demand, we're bringing back our viewer call-in segment. But it's not like talk radio where you say, all right, hey, let's call in right now. No, you have to set this up in advance. So that's what we want you to do. If you want to reach the show, you want to talk to me about what's going on or anything related to the show, you email us. You email us at callsteve@newsmax.com. There it is. There's me. There's my name, and there's the email address, callsteve@newsmax.com. It includes your name, your phone number, your location, and someone on our wonderfully staffed staff will get back in touch with you. Again, that's callsteve@newsmax.com. So don't forget about that. Do it now if you want to participate, and we'll get you hooked up, hopefully. All right, we're coming back, folks. Much more ahead. Don't go away.